Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group and check out this website also where you can find so many project ideas with live version, proper flow, diagram and APIs and documentation and all. Now let's start with the video. So this is a small application. It's kind of a machine test which companies are asking. So some of you have shared this. So I have created a UI for the same. APIs are also there. So if you see, this is just a loan application form. We can consider it as a bank loan application form. So basic details are here like full name, date of birth, email, phone number, address, and the city address, employment status, annual income, and the credit score. It just we just have to enter and the asset detail. And bank loans are multiple because obviously a person who is applying for loans, he might have another other loans also going on. To process the application, the banker needs to know how many other applications, how many other bank loans he is currently having. So it is going to be multiple. And on click of add, it is whatever the information we add, it is going to be added over here. That is will be dynamic. And on click of submit, we are going to submit this application. So this is the simple application. So API will be add new application. So in project api.zerasim.in, you will be finding those API. So on click of submit, this is the API which we are going to hit. Just to see how many applications are there, we have this application. One more API is there, check application status. By passing the PAN number, we will be get to know like what is the applications, what is the status of my loan application. So only 3 APIs are there. This UI I have already created and I have pushed that into my YouTube project template repository. So you can just make use of it or you can design your template also. So this is the template in loan app folder. You will be finding that. I have created empty Angular 18 project. Let me just showcase you this. So you can see Angular 18 project is there. After installation, I have installed Bootstrap and Fontasm. Just we use it every in the project. Then after adding the Bootstrap and the Fontasm, I have added the same thing, CSS, into our Angular.json. This is the initial thing what I have done. Now we can start with the API process. So first, only two components we will be needing. First for this and another where we will be showing the loan application. Now, let me just in app folder, I will be creating a folder which will be pages, and inside that I will be creating a component. So right click in new terminal, ng generate component, let's say loan application. This is the first component we are going to need. Then application list to show the list of applications we have received. List, two components we have created. Now we have created two components, so we need to create the routes as well. So over here, we have the routes array. So again, we can create a default route. Why it's not suggesting? Yeah. So path empty, then redirect to, let's just give it a time. Yeah, redirect to. And if we don't have any route in the URL, where we have to redirect, this is the default route. So let's say home, and on home, we are going to have our application form. Path mesh strategy we need to use. We will be providing the full value. Then another route, which will be for our home application. Or let's say new app application, that will make more sense. Let's copy component loan application. So this is the first route. So if we don't have anything in the URL, it is going to navigate to this route. And in this route, we have this component. Just like that, we need one more route for the application list. Application list component. So we have created 3 routes. Now we have to run the project also. To use my API, make sure you run on the particular port, that is ng serve -port 4209. Make sure you are running your application on this particular port. Then only you will be able to access the API. Why it is saying, okay, 3 hyphens are there. Make sure you run your application on this particular port. So after creation of the component, now these components we are going to render in our application, our app component. So app component is our parent component. We are not going to have any navbar or anything. So in app component, we are simply going to have our router object. That's it, nothing else. Let's just save all and check. Let's just try to access the application in new tab, localhost 4209. So here you can see by default loan application is coming. Even if we don't have anything in the URL, still it is navigating to the loan application. Let's move it over here. Now we just need in this component, we are going to have the UI. So let's copy this UI, the whole UI. I will just copy this container div and I will put it over into my loan application component HTML. Fine. Now we just need the CSS also. Some small CSS are there. These are the CSS. Let's copy and let's put it into our CSS file. Let's save and check if we are able to see the application. Yeah, just the background color is not coming. That is because in the template, I have added that on the body. So let's just do the same thing into my index.html. I will add it on the body. Let's save. So now you can see same look and feel. I'm able to see it over here. Fine. Now, so your UI is ready. Now, next thing is we need to check like what is the object we need to create. Now we don't need this, so let's close it. So new add application. So if you can see, this is the object which we need. Now, if you see the UI, we have the single information as this, and this is going to be multiple information. So this is a scenario where we have single with multiple entity. That scenario we have. So in consideration of that scenario, we will always have an object like this. This is a single object, and in some property, we have to pass the array of multiple loans, correct? So this is the object we are going to need. So let's create interface and everything for this. So inside core folder, I will be creating folder like models, and inside model folder, I will create application dot model dot ts. Inside this, we will be creating our class. So export. Now, there is a shortcut also to create the class and everything, right? So what we can do, we can just copy. There is a site that is convert JSON to TypeScript class. Let's paste it over here. So here you can see you get the interface and everything. So let's copy both the things. Let's paste it over here. So we are going to create the class. So export class. This is going to be our application. So since it is a class, so all the properties it will ask us to initialize. Now over here, we should have a constructor. It is a class, so we can have a constructor, correct? So in the constructor, using this dot, all the properties we will initialize. Sorry, with equal to this dot loans we are done. Then we have address, which will initialize to empty. Just like that, I will initialize everything. Let me just pause the video for now. So you can see I have initialized all the properties like this. So whatever the basic initialization with what property you can initialize, like application ID is the primary key. So I have initialized that with 0 like that. Application status by default, I have to send it new. Whatever you feel you need to initialize that you can do it over here. Just like for the loan class also, I have done it. Now this loan class, we are using it over here as an array and I have initialized that with empty. Fine. This is the first step. Now this model, we have to use it over here in the loan application. Now from Angular 17, all the components are standalone by default. We are going to use template form. So over here, we need to import forms module. It's not coming. So let's add the import first. Angular slash forms. That will be forms module. Fine. This we have to import it over here. Now, over here, first we need to create an instance of two things. We have two model, application and a loan. Because if you see the UI, we are going to have two forms. This is the first form and this is the second form on click of add. So that's why I will be creating instance of two things. So application colon. Now we have to provide the data type. Instead of any, now we will be providing the data type application. So this we have to provide it over here. So this application will come from our model.ts. So we need to add the import also. Correct? Now this is a class, so we can initialize that like this. Again, second one is loan. That too with the data type of this model class, that is loan. Again, we need to initialize it like this. We need to import the statement also. Fine. So we have created in two classes and that we have imported into our component. We have created the instance also. We have imported the form model also. Now this model we can bind to our HTML. So in the HTML, let me just open the side by side so that we can quickly copy paste. Now starting from the top. Sorry, we need to open the .ts. What was the .ts? Application. So now over here, we have all the input element, whatever the input element we have in the form, we need to bind it with ng model directive. So square bracket, round bracket, ng model is equal to this application dot. Now you can see once I type application dot, you can see everything is coming IntelliSense. It is suggesting whatever the properties we have in that object. That's because we have provided the data type of that particular class. If you, instead of your class, if you provide it with any, it won't suggest. So there will be a less chance you will be making the spelling mistake. And this is the industrial approach you should follow. Fine. Now, here again, you have a shortcut. Now we have around so many elements. So copy pasting everywhere and either writing it, it will be difficult. So what we can do, we will search for this class and this we will replace with this. We will replace with this. 15 elements are there. Let's replace quickly. So see, everywhere we have this. Just here we will get it twice. So let's remove that. Now what we need to do, we just have to bind the particular property to that particular element. So this is full name. Then we have date of birth. So this way you will increase your development speed. If you are appearing for the machine test, you have very less time, correct? So this shortcut will be very helpful to you. And if you are going to screen share also, interviewer will judge your development speed also because you know the shortcut. So within less time, you will be getting work done, correct? Annual income, employment status, credit score, asset. Now, this is the first form. In second form, we have another object that is loan. So we need to bind it. So here, instead of application, we will have loan dot bank name over here. Then this will be loan amount. And here will be EMI. Fine. So let's just save and check if we have any error or not. Make sure as a UI developer, your console should be always on because if there is some error, you will find it over here. Now, so basic thing is done. We have created object and that object we have binded to our form also. Now, next thing is on click of add, we need to add this, whatever the details he has pushed into an array. We need to store this loan array, correct? So that we can either push to this array directly or we can create a separate array and then we can on click of submit, we will push it over here. But rather than we have the array over here, right? So now on click of add, let me just close this. So now on click of add, we will push this object into our whole parent object into loan array. Fine. So let's create a function. It will be click add loan. Let's create this function. I'm not covering validation. There are so many videos I have created for the validation. So please do follow that, because just the way how machine test should be delivered, that is the main focus. So that's why I'm not covering the other part now. So we have to push to this dot application, where we have to push in the loan array dot unshift or push, whatever you can use. What we need to push? The loan object, because that's what we have binded to our form loan. Fine. So once you add whatever the loan detail you had, that is going to be stored into this array. So now this we can use it to display over here. So this over here we can add ng container, because we need to show empty also. So ng container is an imaginary div which we can use star ng if. Now since from Angular 17 we have got @if, so we can make use of that. So @if condition will be this: if loans dot length equal to 0. If length is 0, we will show the empty this td. We don't need ng container now because we have else. So else. Previously we used to make use of ng container, and on that we used to add the if statement. But now over here we don't need that. So if length is 0, we are showing this like no loans added at. But if length is not 0, we have to render our td. So td, as we have 4 headings, so we will need 4 td. And over here we are going to, instead of ng power, we will be using @for loop, the new statement, control flow statement we have. And this tr we are going to iterate, so it will go into this application loan. Here we are going to have the array. We are going to need the index. So $index, we will print it over here. Index will start normally from 0. So we will make it +1. Over here, we are going to have item dot see, everything is IntelliSense because you created class and interface. Loan amount and EMI. Fine. Let's just save and check if it is properly working. We might face one issue, but let's see. Now, if I add SBI, let's say loan amount 20 something, EMI, let's say 1200. Now, if I click on add loan, you can see it is getting added over here. Again, let's try to add one more, HDFC. So now if you see, once I change over here, here also it got changed. Pay attention again. See? So that's because it will hold the. So to handle this scenario, like if we change in the form, same thing is getting changed in the array also, we need to do a small thing. So in our add method, so here we can create a local variable str. So we need to detach this object with the array in that object. Fine. So JSON dot stringify. What we have to stringify? The object, loan object. So we are converting our loan object into string. Then we will create another object, new obj. Here we will again convert our converted string object into JSON format. So parse. And this str object we will pass it over here. And this new object we will pass it to push to the array. Now if we save and if we try the same thing, add, and if we again change now, see, now it is not changing out over here. Fine. So this part is done. Now what we need to do, on click of submit application, we just need to hit our API. So now if you see, This is the URL. Let me just try it out also. On click of execute, we will get the URL. So this is our URL. Now we have to make the API call. So from Angular 17, we don't have app module, right? So we have app config. So previously for making API call, we used to import HTTP client module, but from Angular 18, HTTP client module is deprecated. We cannot use that. So we have provider section over here. So over here, we can make use of provide HTTP client method. Fine. So this is the first thing. Then we can create a service. So in app folder, let's create a service. Let's open a new terminal. And generate service. And let's create master. Just we are giving any names. Enter. So this will create a service. So we have created service. Now we have to make the API call. So we need to create an instance of our HTTP client. So this is the old way. Private in constructor, we are creating an instance of our HTTP client. Colon HTTP client. Fine. A new way we have using inject, so that we will be doing in the company. So this is what we call it as dependency injection. Now here add new application. A function we are creating. This function is going to make an API call, and whatever the data we get from the API call, that we are going to simply return. So this dot HTTP dot post API call. So when we talk about API call, we have get, post, put, delete, correct? So if you see over here, this is a post API call. So for post API call, we need two things, URL and the object. So this is the URL. So let's copy it. So first option will be URL. Second object, we need to pass the object. So this function will have a parameter, obj. And that too, what data you are going to get, this object application. So you can just provide the data type over here. Fine. So this is the benefit of doing strongly typing, means creating class and interface. And obj, this object you can pass it over here. This is a normal function. But let's say you are appearing for the interview. So make sure you add a proper data typing also. Like this function is going to return observable type of data. So observable. Why it's not suggesting? Let's add it. RxJS. Sometimes it suggests, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not also sure. Fine. So observable. Now, if you see my API, I'm going to return in every API, I'm going to return this model. So here you need to specify the data type, return type also, correct? So you can create an instance of this also. So let's create, here we have created class and class. Now we will create interface. We will be able to see how we create interface also. Instead of class, we just have to use the interface API. Fine. These are the properties. Sorry, let's remove this. Message will have data type of string, comma, result will be boolean, so boolean, comma, and data can be anything. So that's why here I can put it anything, because based on the API, sometimes I might get array, sometimes I might get true false, sometimes I might get single object. That's why I'm keeping it as a format selection. So this is our response model. So this we can put it over here. What type of data I'm going to get? Like this. Normally we put it any over here. So instead of that, we are hard coding everything, strongly typing. And since we have provided the return type, after post, you need to provide the same thing over here also, like this. So if you are appearing for the machine test, this should be your API call function should look like into your service. Fine. This will increase your chances of getting selection. Fine. So now we have created our service. Now this service we have to integrate into our component. So from Angular 15, 16, we have got something new, that is inject. So here we can create an instance of service like this. So what is master SRV is equal to inject, we can use round bracket. What we need to inject? Our master service. Fine. So this is equivalent to what we used to do it over here like this dependency injection. So this is the new thing. So you should be familiar with this also. Now, on click of submit, at the end, we have the submit button, correct? So here, let's write the click event on submit. Let's create this function. So here we have to make our API call. So this dot master service dot only one function is there currently, add new application. This function needs the parameter object. So this object, this dot application, we have to send, and that add new application is going to send the observable type of data. So we can subscribe to it. Result colon. Now what kind of data we are going to get? Same, this model we are sending back. So let's add a data typing over here. Let's import it. Arrow function. So this is our subscribe code. But if error is there, we can add an error block as well. Make sure in your component, this should be your API call function should look like. You should have a success and the error block as well. Otherwise, they will ask you like if API got break, where you are going to handle the error. So this should be your code. Fine. Now here you can add an if statement, re result dot result. So my APIs are work like that. If API call is success, in this property, you will get it true, otherwise false. So if it is true, you can show an alert box. Let's say loan application success. And if it is an error, in else block, alert, in the API response only, you will get it. So result dot in the message property, you will get it. And same thing in the alert error block as well. Whatever the error you get, that I can display it over here like this. Fine. Now let's just add a debugger and let's see everything is proper or not. Let's try to save. Why it's showing like this? The declaration was marked as deprecated over here. I thought we have subscription is deprecated, so we have to make use of next and okay, got it. But it's for now it will work. So let's try to save all. Fine. Now let's open our component, that is Control P, application. Our debugger is there. Fine. Let's try to first. I will show you like, do we have currently application sum, right? So let's click on try it out, execute. So currently while testing, I have inserted some records, so that might be there. So currently we just have 4 and 5. Only 2 records are there. Fine. We will try to create our record. Let's say ABC, ABC, ABC. Just a random unique name I'm giving. A date of birth I'm giving something. Fine. Email, let's say abc@dummy.com. Let's add a dummy mobile number. Then address, some address, city, let's say Pune, state, Maharashtra, zip code 112233, annual income, let's say 3 lakh something, employment status, employed, credit score 23 or something. In actual application, we have to integrate an external API, which will get us the credit score by the PAN card number, what we provide. And we forgot the PAN card number to include in the form. Because in the API, we have the PAN card number, but I forgot to do that because UI already I have created. But let it be, you can create a PAN card number over here and you can add the validation for PAN card as well. Fine. So single information I have added. Let's add the loan detail. Let's say I have a loan from SBI of 50,000 and I have an EMI of 7,000. Add. I have another from HDFC. It will be, let's say, for 120. Let's say 12,500 is the EMI. Add another loan. So you can see I have two loans currently going on. Now on click of submit application. Oh my God, we didn't call this function, or yeah, we call it. So now on click of submit, you can see our function got triggered. Now if you hover on this up model, you can see in loans we have got two loans, HDFC one and the SBI and the single information. So whenever we are dealing with the single with multiple, this should be your application model look like. You will have single things over here, and in some property you will have array. Fine. Let's add a debugger over here. Let's now while call from this function, we are calling a function from our service. So let's add a debugger over there also. Continue. So now that object we have sent it over here, and this object we are passing to the API. Continue. Network. Oh, we have got 400. Why 400? Let's check. Everything seems to be correct. Application ID is 0. Why we have got 400? Okay, date applied. So we didn't pass the date applied in the correct format. So we have this application model. Here we can pass new date like this. And it is saying like string. So let's change the data type to date. So because this was a date time, and on the API side, I think I have the validation. It is not null. That's why you need to send the proper date format. Let's do everything again. So 400 basically invalid object. Whatever the object you should be specifying while calling the API, but you didn't specify like that. ABC, date of birth. Let's enter something. Let me just fill it quickly. Fine, let's add SBI. We should be on click of add. We have to clear it actually, but I didn't do that. Let's just first test if it is properly saving. Add loan. Now let's just try. Continue. Continue. Yeah, so now I think API call is success. So now in the result, you can see in the result property, we have got true, and the updated model also you can see. Okay, so if it is true, we are showing this application success, loan application success. Now let's just check if application we are able to get. So I'm just executing get all application again on click of execute. You can see this is the new application. What we have created is available over here. Fine. Now what the actual one observation we have got, like once we add it, we need to reset this also. So that we can do over here. This is the application, right? So we just need to reinitialize this model. So this dot loan is equal to new like this. So our class will be reinitialized. That's it. So next time if we add, see now SBI something, see form got reinitialized. Extra thing we have done. So this is how the normal way you should target your application. Whenever you are preparing for the machine test, always create class or interface, add a validation, make sure your UI is also proper, because most of the companies doesn't have a specific UI developer. You has to develop the UI and you has to write the Angular code as well. It's a normal way, normal form, but see how I have structured single information over here. Background color I have given gray. In the card I have given the white. So it is looking something properly. Correct? So whenever you are appearing for the machine test, make sure UI is also very proper. That will also improve your chances. And service creation. Instead of using ng for, make sure you are using control flow statement. This new thing you are using. Again, because I didn't have time. So instead of template form, you should go for the reactive form. Correct? Don't use anywhere. Always create class and interface. Fine. So these are the things you can do. I hope this was helpful. Please do like and subscribe.